So it's a very sobering session. So if I can have your attention, please. Thanks a lot for being here today. This is media availability, so it's something where I think we'll mainly leave it up to you to ask questions and we'll respond. I do want to say, just by way of introduction, and then allow the President and the Speaker both weigh in as well, that it is an honor to serve with these two guys, the one on my right and the one on my left. I listened intently last night as the House said goodbye to Andrew. It was not just a pro forma goodbye, it was a very serious and in many respects emotional moment. I'm not trying to break you up here, Mr. Speaker, but it was really clear that people viewed his leadership with a great deal of that they valued his leadership and that they view him as a person who's led with a great deal of integrity as the Speaker of the House. It's no small job to do what the Speaker has done and to do it, I think, in the fashion that you've done it, and it's been, as I say, an honor to serve with you. As it relates to Mr. President, he is not terminally, he's coming back. We're happy about that. It is likewise, again, there's a lot of attention being paid to Peter at the beginning of the session because he was the first African-American president of the Senate. And we said at the time, it'll be great when it's about substance only and not about skin color. The fact of the matter is, he's just such a man of such great substance. And, you know, the three of us didn't agree on absolutely everything, but we also really, I believe, have a shared vision about this state. And so that was my intro. It really is an honor to have served with you both. We really believe that this was a great session and that we accomplished the things. If you go back and State of the State address and measure it against the things that we said we were going to do, we believe that those things happened, and we made some very significant accomplishments here for the people of this state, and particularly, I guess, for the kids of this state is one way to look at it. We talked in the State of the State message about preschool, at-risk kids in preschool. Because of what we did this year, we're going to wipe out the waiting list for at-risk kids. We talked about full-day kindergarten. We're going to have full-day kindergarten over a 5-year period. We'll get to the place where it's available. We talked about the Colorado Achievement Plan for Kids, which, by the way, was hatched inside the governor's office, and we went looking for sponsors on that. And you know, I said yesterday at a Chamber of Commerce speech that success has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. That had gone down, I'm sure we would have been blamed for it going down. It didn't. It passed, and it passed with great bipartisan support. We believe that's a very important reform for this state, and that our ability to get that done in part hinged upon really the leadership of the people to my left and right, but as well Republicans in the House and the Senate. I have to give really a lot of credit to those people in the House and the Senate who really understand the issue of education. I'm going to name one in particular, and it's Rob Whitworth. And it's interesting, he's not the person taking credit for it. He's the one giving other people credit. Rob Whitworth kept pressing us on reform, on real reform last year, and not allowing the conversation to be about seat time or about course titles or things like that. So I was very happy that we were able to do that. The best program, the best school building program, and I credit Andrew and Carrie Kennedy, the treasurer, with having really developed an idea for capital construction for K through 12. The zones of innovation is something that the president fought really hard for, and that is being well received by people who want to really look at how we have pilot programs in place that allow us to really innovate and create and do something different with education. If you think about all of those things that relate just to K through 12, it was a dramatic year for education in this building. And it's interesting, you know, we know that the Colorado Achievement Plan for Kids is going to take a few years to implement. Then you don't see that in its implemented form in September, but that's kind of how you have to view these kinds of big ticket items, that they're a process and that you don't turn big things like this on a dime. You really have to be committed to doing them, and not necessarily within election cycles. You know, and that's really important as well. I really do appreciate the fact that the people who got behind CAP for Kids understood that it wasn't just about trying to get it done within, you know, by November, so that they could go back to the voters and say, well, this is what we did. We absolutely put an important thing in place, but we won't see the fruits of that for some time. Higher ed, we increased the budget in higher ed. We think more than any other time in the history of the state to have seen back-to-back increases year to year, and really at this point now over $120 million in new money flowing to higher ed after 2 successive years. The things that we were able to do with the federal mineral lease dollars as it relates to capital construction and the COP bill together is meaningful in a way that higher ed has not experienced for a really long time. I think it was the Iraqi that editorialized about the fact that this is really the year higher ed was the winner, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. You will see additional conversations by us about higher ed with the Colorado Promise scholarships and that initiated measure that we're moving forward. On healthcare, we put in place the building blocks to reform. We talked about that in the State of the State. It was important for us to begin looking at the brokenness of the system, but also not to leave those vulnerable populations who are there uninsured, not to leave them behind. And so we did what we said we were going to do. We put $25 million in new money to really look at infrastructure, and we think over a 3-year period that we'll be able to insure 50,000 more kids, pull them off of the ranks of the uninsured. So think about, a place like Coors Field. If you took every seat in Coors Field, filled it with an uninsured child in a 3-year period, we're going to have those kids moved onto the ranks of the insured. And that's, again, an important way to think about it. It doesn't pick up the 780,000 people because Coloradans aren't ready to put money into a system that's fundamentally broken and they think costs too much. So we had other successes as well. We'll do a lot of bill signings over the next month, but if you think back again to the State of the State, we talked about recidivism, and there we have a package on recidivism as part of our budget. School safety is a bill that we'll sign next week. IT consolidation, a bill that really dramatically changed the way we do IT in the state of Colorado, and it came, I think, out of the House with only 1, maybe 2 no votes, but 1. It's usually 1 when it's not unanimous. So we did great things on the new energy economy. We did, net metering is something that's been argued about in this state for a long time, and we got that done. We are doing a great deal around environmental protection for the people of this state as well. We're looking at water and land issues and conservation issues. So we believe that it was a session that was very meaningful and makes a great difference to the people. And with that, I'll give it over to first the president and then to the speaker.